Are you watching men your age or older who seem more energetic, more confident, more capable than you feel right now? Maybe you've noticed someone in their 70s or 80s who carries themselves with a vitality you're struggling to maintain in your 50s or 60s. If you've wondered what separates these men from those who fade early, you need to understand something crucial. This isn't about genetics. This isn't about luck. And it's definitely not about expensive treatments or prescriptions. I'm Dr. Narita, a board-certified urologist with over 12 years of clinical experience helping men over 50 reclaim their strength, vitality, and masculine confidence. Today, I'm going to reveal the hidden difference between men who maintain their virility well into their 80s and those who lose it decades earlier. By the end of this video, you'll understand the exact biological mechanisms at work. And more importantly, you'll know precisely what to do starting tonight to position yourself in that first group. Before we dive deep into this, tell me where you're watching from today. Drop your city or country in the comments. I love seeing this global community of men who refuse to accept decline as inevitable. And while you're down there, hit that like button so this reaches more men who desperately need this information. The algorithm shows this content to more people when you engage, and there are thousands of men suffering in silence who need to hear what I'm about to share. Subscribe to this channel because every single week we discuss the honest truths about men's health that most doctors don't have time to explain in a 15-minute appointment. Now, let me be direct with you. The medical community has failed men when it comes to understanding vitality and aging. You've been told that declining performance, disappearing energy, and fading capability are just natural parts of getting older. You've been led to believe that once you hit 50 or 60, it's all downhill from there. This is not only wrong, it's dangerous because it prevents you from taking the actions that could completely change your trajectory. I see this every single day in my practice. Two men walk into my clinic. Both are 65 years old. Both have similar medical histories. But one man looks and feels 20 years younger, while the other has already resigned himself to old age. The difference isn't genetic lottery. It's not about who had better parents or who got lucky with their DNA. The difference comes down to three specific biological systems that most men don't even know exist, and more importantly, whether those systems are being properly supported or slowly starving. What I'm about to share is based on clinical research, decades of urological practice, and observations from thousands of patient interactions. This isn't theory. This isn't speculation. This is observable, measurable reality that's been hiding in plain sight. Your body at 50, 60, 70, or 80 isn't broken. It's evolved. It needs different support than it did at 30. And the men who understand this stay virile while others fade. Let me break down the three hidden systems that separate these two groups. The first system is mitochondrial efficiency. Now, I know that sounds technical, so let me explain what this actually means for your daily life. Inside every cell in your body, you have tiny power plants called mitochondria. These structures take the food you eat and the oxygen you breathe and convert them into usable energy. When you're young, these mitochondria work efficiently. They produce abundant energy with minimal waste. But here's what happens as you age. Your mitochondria start producing more oxidative stress, more cellular waste, and less actual usable energy. Think of it like an old car engine that burns oil and runs rough compared to a new engine that purrs smoothly. The men who stay virile into their 80s have found ways to keep their mitochondrial engines running clean and efficient. This isn't just about feeling tired. When your mitochondria aren't working properly, every system in your body suffers. Your muscles don't recover as quickly. Your brain doesn't process information as sharply. Your cardiovascular system doesn't respond as readily. And yes, your sexual organs don't receive the energy signals they need to function optimally. I had a patient named Robert, a 72-year-old former contractor, who told me he felt like he was running on fumes every single day. He'd wake up exhausted, drag himself through his routine, and collapse into bed at night feeling like he'd accomplished nothing. His wife was concerned. His kids were worried. He thought this was just what 72 felt like. But when we tested his mitochondrial markers and started supporting those systems properly, within 6 weeks, Robert called me and said, "Doctor, I'm working in my garden again. I'm taking my grandkids fishing. I feel like myself for the first time in years. So what supports mitochondrial function? This is where it gets practical. CoQ10 or coenzyme Q10 is absolutely critical. This compound sits directly inside your mitochondria and facilitates energy production. Your body makes CoQ10 naturally when you're young, but production drops dramatically after age 40. By the time you're 60, you might be producing less than half of what you made at 25. The men who stay virile are supplementing with 200 to 300 milligrams of ubiquinol, which is the active form of CoQ10, every single morning with a fat-containing meal because it's fat-soluble. Within 3 to 4 weeks, you'll notice smoother, more consistent energy throughout the day. Within 8 weeks, you'll notice improved recovery, better mental clarity, and yes, better physical responsiveness in intimate situations. If that first system surprised you, this next one is even more critical. The second hidden difference is androgen receptor sensitivity. Now, most men have heard about testosterone. You know it's important. You might have even had your levels tested, but here's what almost nobody understands. Your testosterone level is only half the equation. What matters just as much, if not more, is how sensitive your cells are to the testosterone you have. Let me explain this with an analogy. Imagine testosterone is like a key and your cells have locks called androgen receptors. In young men, those locks are sensitive. Even a moderate amount of testosterone opens them easily and triggers all the masculine effects you want: strength, energy, libido, confidence, mental sharpness. But as you age, those locks get sticky. They become less responsive. You might have perfectly adequate testosterone levels, but if your androgen receptors aren't sensitive, that testosterone floats around in your bloodstream doing nothing. This is why some men have testosterone levels of 400, which is technically low, but feel and perform like they're 30 years old. Meanwhile, other men have testosterone levels of 600, which is perfectly respectable, but feel tired, weak, and incapable. The difference is receptor sensitivity. The men who maintain virility into their 80s have kept their androgen receptors responsive and sensitive. This affects everything from muscle maintenance to cognitive function to sexual capability. When your receptors are sensitive, your body uses testosterone efficiently. When they're resistant, you experience all the symptoms of low testosterone, even if your numbers look fine on paper. Here's what damages androgen receptor sensitivity. Chronic inflammation is the primary culprit. When your body is constantly inflamed from poor diet, lack of movement, environmental toxins, or chronic stress, those receptors become less responsive. It's like trying to use a key in a lock that's full of rust. You're physically there, you have the key, but the mechanism doesn't work properly. Insulin resistance, which is epidemic in men over 50, also directly impairs androgen receptor function. When your cells are constantly flooded with insulin from eating too many refined carbohydrates and sugars, those same cells become resistant to testosterone signals. So, how do you restore androgen receptor sensitivity? First, you have to reduce systemic inflammation. Omega-3 fatty acids from high-quality fish oil, 1 to 2 grams of EPA and DHA combined daily, dramatically reduce inflammatory markers throughout your body. Within 4 to 6 weeks, you'll notice reduced joint pain, better recovery, and improved overall vitality. Second, you need to improve insulin sensitivity by reducing refined carbohydrates and adding resistance training. You don't need to become a bodybuilder. Simple body weight exercises or light weights 3 times per week signal your cells to become more sensitive to both insulin and testosterone. Third, specific compounds like boron and magnesium directly enhance androgen receptor sensitivity. Boron at 6 to 9 milligrams daily and magnesium glycinate at 400 milligrams before bed work synergistically to make your existing testosterone more effective. Now here's where this gets really important. The third hidden system that separates men who stay virile from those who decline is vascular flexibility. I need you to understand this because it's the foundation of everything. Every single function in your body, from cognition to digestion to sexual performance, depends on blood flow. Your blood vessels need to be flexible and responsive. They need to dilate when your body needs increased blood flow and constrict when appropriate. In young men, blood vessels are like new rubber bands, flexible, responsive, stretchy. As you age, those vessels become like old rubber bands, stiff, brittle, unresponsive. This process is called endothelial dysfunction, and it's the hidden epidemic destroying men's vitality. The endothelium is the thin layer of cells lining your blood vessels. When it's healthy, it produces nitric oxide, which signals blood vessels to relax and dilate. This is what creates firm erections, strong cardiovascular function, healthy blood pressure, and efficient nutrient delivery to every cell in your body. But here's the problem. The same factors that damage androgen receptors also damage your endothelium. Chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, poor diet, lack of movement, and insulin resistance all destroy endothelial function. The men who struggle at 50 have already experienced years of endothelial damage. The men who stay virile at 80 have protected this system aggressively. I cannot overstate how important this is. When a man comes into my clinic complaining about erectile dysfunction, everyone assumes the problem is in his penis. It's not. The problem is systemic endothelial dysfunction. His blood vessels throughout his entire body aren't working properly. The penis is just the canary in the coal mine because it requires such precise vascular function. If you're experiencing declining firmness, delayed response, or inconsistent performance, your body is telling you that your vascular system needs support. This is not just about sexual function. This is a warning sign about your cardiovascular health, your brain health, and your longevity. So how do you restore vascular flexibility? This is absolutely critical. First, you need to increase nitric oxide production. L-citrulline, not L-arginine, is the superior choice because it converts to arginine in your kidneys and then to nitric oxide in your endothelium. Take 6 to 8 grams of L-citrulline daily, split between morning and early afternoon. You'll notice improved pump during exercise within a week. You'll notice improved sexual response within 2 to 3 weeks. Second, you need antioxidants that specifically protect endothelial cells. Dark berries, particularly blueberries and pomegranate, contain polyphenols that shield your endothelium from oxidative damage. One cup of mixed berries daily or 4 ounces of pure pomegranate juice provides measurable vascular benefits. Third, you absolutely must move your body. Walking for 30 minutes daily signals your endothelium to produce more nitric oxide. The sheer force of blood flowing through your vessels during movement actually stimulates the endothelial cells to function better. You don't need intense exercise. Consistent moderate movement is far more valuable. Let me pause here and speak to you directly. I know some of you are thinking this sounds too simple. You've been struggling for years. You've tried things that didn't work. You're skeptical that supporting these 3 systems could make a real difference. I understand that skepticism. I've heard it from hundreds of patients. But I need you to understand that these aren't random supplements or trendy interventions. These are fundamental biological systems that determine how your body functions. When you support mitochondrial efficiency, androgen receptor sensitivity, and vascular flexibility, you're not chasing symptoms. You're addressing root causes. I had another patient, Marcus, who was 58 years old and already felt like his best years were behind him. He was overweight, pre-diabetic, struggling with energy, and his marriage was suffering because of declining intimacy. Marcus told me he felt embarrassed bringing these concerns to a doctor. He thought he should just accept that this is what 58 looks like. But when we started supporting these 3 systems with the protocols I just described, the transformation was remarkable. Within 2 months, Marcus had lost 15 pounds without changing his diet dramatically because his mitochondria were burning fuel efficiently again. His morning energy returned. His mental fog lifted. And yes, his intimate life with his wife improved so significantly that he actually thanked me with tears in his eyes. That's not an exaggeration. When you restore a man's capability and confidence, you're giving him back a piece of his identity that he thought was gone forever. Now, which of these 3 systems do you think might be your weakest link? Drop a comment below and let me know. Are you struggling most with energy and fatigue, which suggests mitochondrial issues? Are you dealing with adequate testosterone levels, but poor response, which indicates receptor problems? Or are you experiencing vascular symptoms like erectile difficulty or high blood pressure, which points to endothelial dysfunction? Identifying your primary weakness helps you prioritize your approach. Here's what I need you to understand about implementation. You don't need to do everything perfectly overnight. That's actually counterproductive because it creates overwhelm and you won't stick with it. Start with one system. If energy is your biggest concern, start with CoQ10. If you suspect your testosterone isn't working effectively, start with inflammation reduction through omega-3s and cut back on refined carbohydrates. If vascular function is clearly the issue, start with L-citrulline and daily walking. Give each intervention 4 to 6 weeks to take effect. Your body didn't decline overnight. It's not going to restore overnight. But consistent support of these systems creates compounding benefits that become increasingly noticeable over time. Let me give you a practical implementation protocol you can start tonight. First thing tomorrow morning, take 200 milligrams of ubiquinol CoQ10 with your breakfast, which should include some healthy fat like eggs cooked in butter or avocado. Mid-morning, take 1 gram of omega-3 fish oil with a glass of water. With your lunch, take 3 grams of L-citrulline. Early afternoon, take another 3 grams of L-citrulline with a handful of mixed berries. With your dinner, take 6 milligrams of boron. Before bed, take 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate. This entire protocol costs less than $2 per day if you buy quality supplements in bulk. Within 1 week, you'll notice sleep improving because of the magnesium. Within 2 weeks, you'll notice energy becoming more consistent because of the CoQ10. Within 3 to 4 weeks, you'll notice vascular function improving because of the L-citrulline. Within 6 to 8 weeks, you'll notice comprehensive improvement across energy, strength, mental clarity, and intimate capability. Now, I need to address something important. Some of you are wondering whether these supplements are safe or whether you should check with your doctor first. Here's my position. These are not exotic compounds. CoQ10 is made by your own body. Omega-3s are essential fatty acids found in fish. L-citrulline is a non-essential amino acid found in watermelon. Boron is a trace mineral. Magnesium is an essential mineral that most men are deficient in. These are fundamental nutritional supports, not pharmaceutical interventions. That said, if you're on blood thinners, you should discuss omega-3s with your physician because they have mild blood thinning effects. If you have kidney disease, you should discuss L-citrulline and magnesium with your doctor because impaired kidney function affects how you process these compounds. For the vast majority of men, these supports are extraordinarily safe and well tolerated. Let me share one more patient story because I think it illustrates the emotional component of this issue. I had a patient named David who was 71 years old, recently widowed, and had met someone new after 2 years alone. He was terrified. He told me, "Doctor, I haven't been with anyone in years. I don't know if my body can still do this. I don't want to humiliate myself or disappoint her." The fear in his voice was heartbreaking. This is a man who served in the military, built a successful business, raised 3 children, but the prospect of intimate inadequacy had him paralyzed with anxiety. We implemented the exact protocols I've described. We supported his mitochondria, improved his receptor sensitivity, and enhanced his vascular function. 3 months later, David came back for a follow-up. He didn't say much, but he shook my hand firmly and said, "Thank you for giving me back my confidence. I'm living again, not just existing." That's what this is really about. It's not just physical mechanics. It's about dignity, identity, and the right to feel capable and masculine regardless of your age. Gentlemen, here's the truth that nobody wants to tell you. The difference between men who stay virile at 80 and those who struggle at 50 isn't mysterious. It's not genetic destiny. It's not luck. It's the consistent support of 3 fundamental biological systems that determine how well your body functions. Mitochondrial efficiency gives you energy. Androgen receptor sensitivity allows your testosterone to work effectively. Vascular flexibility ensures blood flow to every organ system, including your brain and your sexual organs. When these 3 systems are functioning well, you feel like yourself. When they're compromised, you experience all the symptoms you've been told are just normal aging. But here's what I need you to hear. You are not too old. You are not too far gone. You are not beyond help. The belief that decline is inevitable is a lie that keeps you from taking action. Your body at 50, 60, 70, or 80 wants to function well. It's designed to maintain capability, but it needs the right support. It needs the raw materials and the environmental signals that tell it to stay strong rather than fade. Every single day you delay implementation is another day of unnecessary decline. Every morning you wake up without supporting these systems is a morning you're choosing to accept less than what's possible for you. I want you to do something for me right now. I want you to make a commitment to yourself. Not to me, not to your partner, to yourself. Commit that you will implement at least one of the protocols I've described. Start with the easiest one. Maybe that's just adding magnesium before bed tonight. Maybe it's walking for 30 minutes tomorrow morning. Maybe it's ordering CoQ10 and omega-3s tonight, so they arrive this week. Small actions create momentum. Momentum creates results. Results create confidence, and confidence creates the willingness to do more. If you found value in this video, I need you to hit that like button right now. Your like tells YouTube to show this to more men who are suffering in silence, who think decline is inevitable, who don't know these solutions exist. Share this with a friend or family member who needs to hear this message. Leave a comment below telling me which of these 3 systems you're going to support first. And subscribe to this channel because every single week I share the honest, practical, evidence-based information that most doctors don't have time to discuss in a rushed appointment. Next week, I'm going to show you the 5 biggest mistakes men over 50 make that accelerate decline, and more importantly, exactly how to avoid them. These are errors I see constantly in my practice, mistakes that seem harmless but compound over years to destroy vitality. You don't want to miss that video. I'm Dr. Narita. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring enough about your health and your future to invest this time in understanding your body. You deserve to feel energetic, capable, and confident. Age is not a disease. It's an evolution. And with the right support, that evolution can be one of continued strength and vitality rather than decline and resignation. Take care of yourself, gentlemen. You're worth the effort.